Before I start my presentation, I'd like to share with you some summary information on the institution of civil engineers. We are the world's oldest engineering institution, which means we have history. It doesn't necessarily mean we're good today, though of course we are. Founded in 1818, so my presidential year is in the 199th year. Damn it, missed by one. First Royal Charter in 1828, currently with over 90,000 members in over 150 countries. And our main responsibilities are there, if you at the back can read them. And in quite short order, being a qualifying body, providing a gold standard qualification of chartered engineer or chartered civil engineering, and now a range of other membership alternatives, being a centre of excellence for civil engineering knowledge and increasingly lifelong learning. And the third one, providing what we hope is thought leadership about civil engineering and infrastructure in the form of meetings, forums, and increasingly evidence-based policy reports. I said we're First Royal Charter in 1828. That is our personal copy. In those days, several top copies, I guess you'd call them, were produced and handed around to those who needed them. I'm told it's got a green seal because we're used to, we are all children of the Elizabethan era, and we're used to seeing seals with red. Apparently, green is for kings, red are for queens. We can test that probably within a few years' time. It does still carry the words that mean a lot to us today, including such things as using the art and science of civil engineering for the benefit of society. And we're very proud of that and keep to it. And just in case you've never been to us, a nice property right in the middle of Westminster, which earns us well over £1 million a year, so it's not a drain on our members, available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, conferences, anything you like. Currently has the Guinness World Record longest Lego bridge installed in a new exhibition area on the first floor, open to the public. Total length of the bridge over 13 metres, free span, it's about 17 metres. Right. I've probably used up most of my time already. ICE presidents are encouraged to develop a small number of primary themes within their year as president. As some of you already know, I've chosen that the priority for my year in office is to examine how together we can engineer a digital future. But what do I mean when I say the word digital? I'm talking about a world where we, the industry, can provide our customers with the same level and reliability of service from our infrastructure that we have come to expect from Amazon, Google, or Uber. I think I probably need to go back to that one. A world where infrastructure brings economic prosperity, improves living standards, and provides a better quality of life to the billions of people for whom reliable, clean drinking water is still an aspiration. A world where technology will enable us to understand in real time how our assets are performing, and we will be able to intervene to maximize value for money. A world in which our industry leads the way in innovative thinking and our firms find new ways of adding value. So when I say we must engineer a digital future, I mean we must engineer for ourselves a complete transformation in the way we think about our infrastructure and our professional practices. This transformation must address the issues the public care about, and we must explain to them, in plain language, how we will meet their personal needs and concerns. We must also recognize that we have entered a new industrial revolution, and if we are to be what we claim to be, we must forecast what society needs and then provide it. But how do we get there? What is already happening that we can build on? And of course, what is the role of ICE in making it a reality? The rise of artificial intelligence and vast pools of data are leading already to better decision-making. Advances in technology, computing power, and just the sheer volume of data at our fingertips are transforming how infrastructure is operated and what it can do for the public. The advent of smart motorways, smart highways, smart meters, and the Internet of Things is changing our expectations of what our physical infrastructure can and should do for us. Autonomous vehicles are becoming a reality and look set to shape the future of mobility and mass transit, and potentially even the fabric of our towns and cities. Building information modeling, a process of designing a building collaboratively using one coherent system, has changed how the parties to engineering contracts share information and presents opportunities and challenges to those relationships. By adopting BIM in conjunction with lean and agile technologies, we are already going some way to reducing the capital cost of a project, approximately 20% according to the government. We don't always need to invent new technologies or business models, but we do always need to be innovative in how we deploy existing knowledge. BIM was used in the design and construction of the new Alder Hey Children's Hospital in Liverpool, the recipient of the Prime Minister's Better Building Award at this last year's British Construction Industry Awards. It allowed greater integration of the building as a whole entity across the whole supply chain and streamlined coordination between design and engineering teams. As a result, we have one of the fastest built hospitals to date in the UK, making a real difference to the lives of the children and families who depend on it. But what else do we need to do? How can we build upon this progress? There is much we can learn from other sectors, such as aerospace and manufacturing. Other industries do seem to find it easier to take risks and try out new technologies. Well, why? Well, perhaps because there isn't an entire system at failure, a system failure at risk in doing so, one that could affect whole cities, taxpayers' money, or perhaps a politician's chances of being re-elected. We are perceived as a risk-averse industry, and in one respect, this is understandable. We cannot put the public at risk by cutting corners. But we do need to create more opportunities to drive the innovation agenda, and to do so harder and faster than we have done to date. Over the years, I have worked extensively on the development of digital engineering techniques and on advanced holistic techniques for assessing the long-term sustainability of buildings and infrastructure assets. Early in my career, as Research and Innovation Director at Atkins, I was invited to step into a totally new role. R&D was then a poorly understood area in the industry. So I started with a blank sheet of paper for a job spec. Filling it in required a great deal of trust and collaboration, a culture change in the firm. We realized that we must change ourselves because it would be good for us, good for the people who worked for us, and ultimately, good for the whole of society. As an industry, we'd become too used to being provoked into change at short notice by being prodded with a long, pointy stick by government. R&D, which has innovation at its core, is about removing the need for the stick. It is about managing the future by inventing your own future. I never did fill the piece of paper, and that's how I think it should be. The very essence of innovation is that it continually evolves to meet the changing needs of each firm and the industry as a whole. Today, I believe we need an even greater cultural shift than I was part of then. Our commitment to innovation must be wedded to a commitment to the public. The two go hand in hand. The great civil engineers of the past were successful because they had in mind a vision for how life for the public could be better. Whether it was Bazalgette's sewers, designed to relieve London of its debilitating health problems, or Stephenson's first ever steam railway line between Liverpool and Manchester, built to achieve cheaper and quicker transport of goods and passengers. In both cases, engineers had an acute sense and understanding of what they could deliver for the public. That was true then, and it is true now. We can see that in the great civil engineers of our time. They have in mind an understanding of what they are trying to achieve, what the problem is they are trying to solve, and most importantly, what benefit this would bring to the public. We know from recent research that the public are more supportive of the need for better infrastructure than we sometimes assume. But rightfully, they want to understand what it means to them, how it relates to them, and how their lives will be better. Will I have more employment opportunities? Can I visit places my family have never been to before? Will my children be safer? Can I afford to buy a home? All of these are questions for which we, the ICE, and you must show we have answers. I do believe we are now living in a golden age of infrastructure delivery. Why do I think this? Well, it's certainly true to say that the UK government is taking much more interest in infrastructure today than was previously the case. This can be seen in the level of funding for nationally important projects such as Crossrail, Hinkley Point C, High Speed 2 and the Thames Tideway Tunnel. But it is also true in the new governance systems that are being developed by the Infrastructure Projects Authority for overseeing the development of new projects, and also in the work of the National Infrastructure Commission in developing plans for the infrastructure we'll need in the future. Also, if a new biography on Thomas Telford, first president of the ICE, had been written even 5 years ago, I doubt that it would have been written by a top political journalist, received the accolade of a Radio 4 Book of the Week, or had its launch attended, as it was on Tuesday, by a number of senior politicians and media personalities. But then, the book 5 years ago probably wouldn't have been slanted at how one man, through developing much of the UK's initial infrastructure, had paved the way to substantial economic growth. The UK is now seen as a country where projects are managed properly, a real step change from 30 years ago, and each project is getting better than the last. Clients have never before adopted such a collaborative approach. They have never before shared so much knowledge and experience among themselves, and perhaps more importantly, with the outside world. Students from around the world are coming to the UK for specialist education on how to deliver major projects. It is a challenge for each one of us to build up the next generation, and I'm pleased that ICE is taking seriously the task of providing the next generation of construction professionals with the skills they will need. As I touched on earlier, we want to be a home and voice for everyone contributing to the infrastructure sector. Increasingly, this includes professionals in firms that we wouldn't normally assume are part of the infrastructure debate. Engineers at companies like Google, IBM or Siemens, as well as colleagues in other professions at firms like KPMG and Pinsent Masons. ICE has also used a broad church approach when making the case for infrastructure at a time of great change, as the government negotiates our withdrawal from the European Union. ICE's pan-industry Brexit infrastructure group and our support for the Royal Academy of Engineering's parallel work across all engineering disciplines has gathered wide-ranging expertise with the aim of better informing the UK's negotiations on critical issues, including procurement. There are many people around the world who work day in, day out to deliver the infrastructure their communities need, and only some of them are civil engineers. I want ICE to play the greatest possible role in driving the transformation I have been describing. This means embracing all the professionals involved in our industry, colleagues from law, finance, environmental science, computer science. The list is practically endless. Last year, our council agreed to create a new associate membership to give all these colleagues a home at ICE. For those of you here who want to be part of the institution but are not a practicing civil engineer, you are most welcome to join us. ICE stands for shaping a better world. It is our job to push our industry to take on and deliver the difficult challenges. It will be hard, it will be disruptive change, and it will certainly last longer than just my 1 year in office. It will be up to many of you listening today to pick up that baton. please do come with us. Thank you.
Brilliant.